Phambili lwakho njengendodana kaNkulunkulu KINGSOMNALA kukhona yini ongathi ukufundile kwi-story sa Jesu nanokuthi khona yini osakwenza uqhubeka uhamba einyatheleni zakho?
First, I would say istory sika Jesu ngasifunda wrong oqala.
Okay.
Yeah. Ngasifunda ngasibuka njenge story esi-doctrine. Ngasibuka njenge literature yokholo. For example, you talk about Buddha. Okay? Buddha is older than Jesus. You will find the similarities on these stories. Okay? But in fact, Buddha is more historical than Jesus.
Yeah.
Because there are facts, there are evidence. You know ukuthi uBuddha waphila ngo-500 BCE e-India. BCE 500, that is about 1,000 or 3,000 years before Christ.
Okay.
I think it's about 1,000 years, almost 1,000 years before Christ. But you can trace that guy, you can trace his tomb, you can trace his family. Interestingly, Jesus, you can't trace his family, you can trace his tomb, except the tomb. Actually, there are two tombs that claims to be tomb of Jesus.
Select Africa TV ngokukhethulazo liseqopheleni uhlubudlube ekhasini eshisayo sisole zingeni phela la kusindwe ngobethole njengoba nongazi ukuthi inkunzi sematholeni dubula ubadidu badakaze yebe siphela mphela bhubela sikhukukazi inqolobani yamanoni kaZulu bayibagiye baqephuza nosazi wayidubukele besina bededelana inkundla ingangozulu imvungu yomthatha ehloko makwala semome kwanalele imvoku uzibuthe emoya inkunzi ehlabusento umanqaphaza ngokuqabela ukufadabala abacika seningizimu Afrika izigi zendlovu umhlaba zamazama likhulu liyeza lenyelela lolobonakala eningizimu enyakathe empumalanga nasentshonalanga ungesiphalaphala Pumalanga Scott zamcholo nethe kahle kwavela amaqhawe namaqhawekazi eqheliswe ngolegwalagwala.
ISelect Africa TV ngiyakubingelela ke mbukeli wami futhi ngiyakwamukela igama lami ngingosizenhlanhla kanti uhlelo olubukele ngalesikhathi sithi Inside My Story Season 3 unyaka omusha unyaka ka2023 sambe ukuthi ke konke kuhamba kahle ulapho ngasekhaya. Namhlanje ke sihambile sikhona lapha ya endaweni yaseThekwini la sizokhuluma khona no KINGSOMNALA abantu abaningi ke bayamazi kanti ke utholeke igqoko eziningi ngendlela emangalisayo udokotela uprofessor we king of the Plantian nation aphinde ke ngale kwalokho abe ubaba umnyeni aphinde abe umbhali futhi ke abe ngosoma business sokubingelela siyakwamukela KINGSOMNALA kwa Select Africa TV.
Ngibingelele kuwena ngibingelele futhi nakumbukeli wale TV.
KINGSOMNALA ngifuna siqale kahle sithi Inside KINGSOMNALA Story today.
Okay.
Ngifuna kodwa siqale emuva ukuthi ngale kwakho konke uzaliwe ekhaya thizeni sifisa usibuyelele emuva ukuthi ubani uzalwe phi wakhula kanjani?
Hamilton Qoshango kwakhe nala akababa omabili ngiyengizwa abanye bethi khona lesikole cha mina nginale lesikole likhona lona nganikwa seke esikoleni kodwa akababa omabili Hamilton Qoshango kwakhe kodwa ke ngithanda kakhulu uQoshango kwakhe.
Kungani?
Because I think I followed that thing ubaba kwakun uyayazi lento yasemakhaya okubhinqana ukudlana kuthiwa uyaqhosha kakhulu wayesethi ke uqhosha ngokwakhe futhi ngezinto zakhe so it happened ukuthi ke ngaleso sikhathi kunezinkulumo njengalezo bese kuzalwa mina bese feel ukuthi akaninike mina. I think I followed that name because I like the originality. I like something mangiyenza ibe yimina. Ngingafunda kuwena kodwa ngifuna into ibe yimina nje. Yeah, iqhamuka lapho ke uqhosha wakhe ngithanda ngalokho. Ngizalwa phi? Ngizalwa endaweni yaseNkandla. Ubaba sikhula sakhulela endaweni okuthiwa iKudanda noma kwaDanda. Uma uhamba ngenyawo was about 3 hours. Uma udrive I think will be about 45 minutes or so ukusuka uye lapho esasesikhona ke manje endaweni okuthiwa isemahuzu la nje ngibheke khona ngabona yonke into endaweni okuthiwa isemahuzu enkandla. So ke ngakhula ke emndenini besibaningi kubaba. I think besiwu 11 because umama omdala had 3 bese kuthi uma wami had 8 besiwu 11 mase sisonke bangaphosi singingane ka6 kubaba enganeni zakhe ezazikhona ngoba khona omunye usisa emthole ngaphandle kodwa ke ngazalelwa empilweni yesithembu kodwa noma ngingasazi mina isithembu ngoba umama omdala ngipapha mengasekho esadlula emhlabeni umuntu osikhulisile nje bekumama lo. Enye into engiyithandile engayifunda ngayipractice nami njengendoda ebusiwe ngabasiza abaningi was that I never had into okuthiwa umama mncane ekhaya although umama kwakumama mncane but kubafowethu laba bawu3 bekumfowethu oyedwa odadewethu ababili. I never heard them say umama mncane kwakumama nje sonke ekhaya. Yeah, that's a life engiyikhulile. Kwezemfundo mhlawumbe mangangena khona ngathi ngafunda kakhulu standard yap. Standard yap.
Mhlawumbe KINGSOMNALA bawungasichazela standard yap.
Angithi ezinye ingane kakhulukazi zayihamba zesikoleni mazincane ziyofunda zenzo standard bani. Thina sasilokho standard yap ngoba mina ngangilusa inkomo ekhaya kukhona imbuzi, khona imbongolo, khona inkomo, sometimes lezimvu. So mina ke ngoba ngangisinoko so ngixola kakhulu ku standard yap. Inkomo ikhuzwa kanjalo phela kuthiwa iyaphi.
Okay.
Actually that's where I learned the responsibility. That's why I learned ukuthi inkomo itreatwa kanjani, ikhishwa ngasikhathi sini, ingaphumi ekseni iyodla amazolo njalo. Inkomo ikhulela isikhathi esingakanani, impilo yenkomo ngayifunda kanjalo. Of course ekhaya kwakufundiwe. So I think that's what was the greatest lokhuzana ngayifunda, responsibility, ukunikana amaduty ekhaya ubani wenzani and also ukusebenza ekhaya. Then kuthe ngokuhamba kwesikhathi ngenxa yokugula kwami ngoba ngangigula kakhulu ngibuthakathaka ubaba wayeseyabuka wathi lengane kufanele yenze imisebenzi esindayo kufanele ikwazi ukubhala khona iyoba umabhalana nalapho ke ngihamba ngafike ngenza ugrade 1 kwabe kuphelile ke ngalokho. I will say ke impilo yami ke mayisuka lapho ke yayisiza la eThekwini ke ama upside down amanye swalokho but that's where
standard 1 wakho nje.
Standard 1 wami.
Mbukeli ngiyakuthembisa ukuthi ngempela kumgodla wethu ugcwele kakhulu namhlanje kanti ke siyazi ukuthi ke iphasika liseduza abantu bayaphuma baye enkonzweni ezahlukene kanti ke nathi iyona ngqikithi kakhulu ezobe ke sibheka naye uKINGSOMNALA. Ngengachaza ke ngathi ke uwumbhali wezincwadi. KINGSOMNALA, 3 days 3 nights Jesus Christ.
3 days 3 nights is if you read the book of Matthew chapter 12 verse 40, actually start verse above verse 39 abafarisi bafuna ukuthi uJesu abanikeze isign yokuthi ungumesaya. So uJesu uthi this evil generation wants a sign from me that indicates I am Messiah. He said, but they will not be given any sign. Maybe asilifunda ngoba li foundation yencwadi.
Okay.
Yeah. Starting with verse 39, he replied to them, an evil and adulterous generation craves a sign, yet no sign will be given to it except the son of the prophet Jonah. Because just as Jonah was in the stomach of the sea creature for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Now, you read the Bible in many references. It talks about that Jesus confirmed in many places, even if you read Pauline epistles, you will find that uJesu wayezofa avuke ngosuku lwesithathu. So what is important, because sometimes there is a debate abanye bathi after 3 days, abanye bathi on the 3rd day. To me it doesn't matter. Yeah. On the 3rd day or after 3 days, can be 1 minute, can be 1 hour after that, Jesus could have come up. But what I want us to see, Uguti, what made me wrote that book, was the fact that my first so-called Passover, sometimes called Easter, I was left confused because we celebrated on Friday. That usually is believed, njengoba kuthiwa Good Friday, uJesu wafa ngabo 3 ntambama or ngabo 12, whatever, afternoon kodwa wafa ngalezo khathi. Then let's count ukusho ukuthi uJesu wabasethuneni ngobani? Ngobusuku bangolwesihlanu. And then imini yangomgqibelo. Then ubusuku bangomgqibelo. So you got how many? 1 day, 2 nights.
Okay.
Early in the morning, ngesonto, Jesus was not in the tomb when they went there. Elinye lithi while still dark, elinye lithi sekukhanya, elinye lithi sephume ilanga. Noma ngabe uthatha kuphika. But we don't get 3 days, 3 nights. And then ama-philosophers amaningi noma ama-scholars amaningi, they debate that ukuthi, well, they try ukuthi a day is any time. It's a day. But I believe that uqasha ngesithupha. uJesu wathi 3 days and 3 nights. Mhlambe just to help umbukeli wethu sis ukuthi ake sibuke ukuthi what was in the mind of Jesus when he said 3 days and 3 nights. Because abanye they say sometimes we 24 hours ubizwa ngokuthi usuku. Yeah. But let's go to John chapter 11 verse 9 wakhona. I like it. So remember uJesu, he's walking with his disciple. He says, let's go to Jerusalem. So his disciple, they say to him, no. You remember when you were there, they wanted to kill you. So if you go there, they're going to kill you. He replied, there are 12 hours in a day. Okay? So some use this one and say, uJesu bekhuluma ngo 12 hours. So still we don't get 3 12 hours here and 3 12 hours of the night. I guess buke kanje. 3, are they not 12 hours in a day? Aren't they? If anyone walks during the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of the world. Now, watch this. He says, if you walk in the day, he's defining a day. What is a day? He does not stumble. Why? Because he sees the light of the world. He sees the light. So a day, 12 hours here is when, you know, so divided a bit. There's 12 hours darkness, night, and 12 hours light. In fact, you go further. But if anyone walks at night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. So in other words, in the night, there is no light. In the day, there is a light. So we can divide here and say, when Jesus said 3 days and 3 nights, he talked about 12 hours, 3 12 hours, and 3 nights. How many is that? That will be about 72 hours?
Yeah.
72 hours, if we were to use this one as to count. So if I count from Friday to Sunday, I don't get that 72 hours. I don't get those 12 hours where it's dark, there is darkness. And then I don't get those 12 hours where there is a light. So that was confusing to me to say, was Jesus lying or the church is not getting it? Then, as I studied the Bible, I found out something that they didn't understand, the church, especially in the southern hemisphere or in our day using a Gregory calendar or Roman calendar. This is how it goes. According to the Jews, first I need to say this, their day didn't start at 12 midnight.
Okay.
They start a day 1 minute past 6. At 1 minute past 6, that is the next day. In other words, by the time at midnight, Tina City, segu 1, segu 12, segu ngakusasa, angit. Bona, already there are 6 hours in. So in other words, their day start with night. From 6 to 6 in the morning is the first set of 12 hours. From 6 to 6 in the evening, that is another 12 hours. Then you got 24 hours.
Okay.
This idea also, we will see it in Genesis chapter 1, I think it's verse 5. It say, let's look at verse 4. Verse 3. God said, let there be light. So there was what? Light. Verse 4. God saw that the light was beautiful. He separated the light from darkness. He separated what? The light from darkness. Look at verse 5. Calling the light a day. So when Jesus said 3 days and 3 nights, he's calling where there is a light. And darkness, night. The twilight or evening and the dawn were one day. Did you see that? Notice that he didn't start with a daylight. He started with evening up to morning. He said then a day. So that's the understanding first I need to establish. Why do I establish this? First, I want to establish this to say Jesus emphatically said he will be in the tomb 3 nights, 3 days.
Okay.
So if we don't find that, it's either Jesus is lying or we are missing something. Then I wrote that book for that purpose, to share some light. That's why I call it 3 days, 3 nights, the truth about death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
KINGSOMNALA ngiyayizwa le uthi into yak-inspiration ukuthi ubhale le ncwadi, you were confused.
Then I went to the Bible.
Yes, and then
I
you
found
went
out
to
there
the-
should be no confusion.
Okay. Do you believe with stories such Jesus Christ, or is he is he really the Son of God?
Before we go there, I haven't finished to explain 3 days, 3 nights, why people are confused about it. Maybe let me start with that one.
Okay.
What confused people? They are confused by the Bible itself. Because the day Jesus died, the Bible says, because that day it was a preparation day, the Sabbath was getting closer. Maybe let me check that one so that I don't become somebody who claim to say the Bible says this and without verifying. If you look at John 19 says, now it was a preparation day for the Passover about noon. He told the Jewish elders, here is your king. So remember, when Jesus died, it was a day of the preparation, a day where the where the Sabbath was getting closer. Remember what I said? I said, when does the day start with the Jews? 6 in the evening. Shooting was 7, sesithi 1 ebusuku. kokwamajuda. So kusho ukuthi mase ku3 ntambama usuku ngokwamajuda seluyaphela ngo6 ingakho abantu abasabathayo ubobanaka zathi 6 abasadli until ntambama ngakusasa sebeqala sebeyadla. So ke uJesu ke ileli verse ke elinye lamavesi lithi ileli lokuthi I think leku-Mark ungixolele ngenzela nje ukuthi umlaleli sim-educate because I'm talking about what I wrote. I think it's Mark 15 verse 40. And there were women watching from a distance. Usuku lolu Jesu afa ngalo. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of young James and Joseph and Salome. They used to accompany him and care for him while he was in Galilee. Many other women who had come up to Jerusalem with him were there too. It was a day of preparation. That is the day before the Sabbath. Do you see now why people say it's Friday? It was a day, the day was before the Sabbath. In other words, Jesus died in the day. The following day was going to be Sabbath. In this case, that which I've explained, Jesus died on Friday according to the church, around 3 o'clock. Then the Sabbath was going to start when? Around 6. Now, here is a point. Now remember, amaJuda abengasebenzi ngeSabbath. So they were not allowed. So everything, that's why kwathiwa kuthula idumbu ngokushesha emthini ukuze kungashaya u6 isesemthini ngoba kuzobe seqala usuku lweSabbath akufanele kube khona umuntu osesidumbini. Since it was already evening. Yes. Since it was already evening. Now, let's get to that. Remember Friday, angithi. Then inini Sabbath ngokwazi kwethu Saturday, which is true. Kwakuthiwa niyosebenza 6 days ngosuku 5 days ngosuku ka6 nenze njani niyaphumula iSabbath unto God. What people don't understand, that's what when I wrote this book, what people didn't understand is that on the week of the Passover, there were 2 Sabbaths. Or should I say, there were 3 days that were very important.
Okay.
Okay. Did you get that?
No. No. I want to understand what imaphi lawo days.
Okay. Very good question. So now let's go to Leviticus and Exodus because that's where those days are spelled out. I like to start with Leviticus, I think 23 verse 4. Verse 4 uti, these are the Lord's appointed festival and sacred assemblies that you are to declare at their appointed time. So there was a particular times where Israel will celebrate certain festival. Just like 25 December, we know we celebrate Christmas. Boxing Day, 26. Boxing Day. And then we know that Mhlaka 1 is celebrate. And then look at verse 5. The Lord's Passover is to begin on the 14th day of the first month at twilight. Now, the first month is between March and April. Okay, angifuna ukulokhuza lapho ibizwa ngokuthi inyanga kaNisan or Abib. Inyanga kaNisa noma Abib. So that is a month abaphuma ngayo eEgypt. So kwase kuthiwa le nyanga eniphume ngayo ukube bekuyikhalenda lethu namhlanje noma kungeka 4 noma kungeka 3 iyashintsha ini calendar kuzoba inyanga yokuqala kusho ukuthi unyaka wena uzoqala la. Are you getting that one? Then he says uzothi ke kulemcimbi engifuna niyigcina ngomhla ka14 cela ubambeke leyo. So nizokwenzani ngayo? iPhasika. So babekhetha ilamb noma iwundlu imve encane ngomhla ka10 bisihlala 2 days beyicwaninga ukuthi ayinasici yini ilungela ukuthi ingahlatshwa ngephasika. Umndeni nomndeni, all the families, okay, they were to eat the Passover ngomhla ka-14 nini lithi twilight or evening, kushuthi ngabo after 6 noma 7, that's where they eat the Passover. Young followish. Then on the 15th day of that month is the festival of unleavened bread